Hey everyone, Carl here with Littleroot Lessons, bringing you a deep dive featuring Landorus Incarnate. We've covered Landorus Therian, so it's about time we get to cover the actual Landorus form you see in most of the games, Landorus Incarnate. This is the more offensive-oriented version, I would call it. But yeah, before we get started with Landorus Incarnate, I wanted to let you all know that we have an LRQ on Saturday. There are a ton of free entries to give away in the Discord. If you're interested in playing some Series 10 Best of 3, go follow the Discord link down below. Sign-up form is on there. It's open till Saturday morning. Usually we'll run it to a little bit past check-in. So if you're interested in playing, all the information, sign-up link, and all that stuff is in our Discord. Follow that link down below. And let's just get started with Landorus. So Landorus Incarnate is a very powerful attacker. It's not really so much supportive or like bulky as Landorus Therian was, but it does have some really unique coverage in the form of like Sludge Bomb and Grass Knot that helps teams a lot in terms of special attackers. And unlike its other form, it, like we mentioned, doesn't offer a ton of utility. Rather, it looks to sweep from the back or kind of clean up KOs. Kind of what Dynamax Landorus Therian did for teams in Series 9. It wasn't so much of a lead Pokemon as it was, I'm going to put this in the back and I'm going to switch in on, say, a ground type move or something resisted, steel type or something, and then Dynamax and take over the game that way. Landorus Eye feels a lot of the same way, where it's like, oh, you have a move that hits my restricted, I'm going to switch out and eat the hit, and then Landorus Eye is faster than you, and I'm just going to take you out that way. Seeing very little play in the Incarnate form, Landorus Therian was very, very popular in Series 7 through 9, and I think part of this was due to Dynamax. Landorus Therian, when outside of Dynamax, is very restricted on its movesets. It wants to be this physical attacker with pivots and flying type attacks and whatnot, and it very much benefited from being a Dynamax target because you got to double your HP, take the 4 times weak ice attacks, and use max Airstream and max Quake to boost your speed and special defense to where it's not so much of a problem. However, with the removal of Dynamax, abilities like Sheer Force actually can thrive. We've seen things like Nidoking come out and be popular, and Landorus Eye obviously is making a resurgence here because of the same reasons. As for common partners, Landorus Eye doesn't require a ton of support. It's more the teams that want Landorus Eye have certain things and need certain things filled. The restricteds that really like Landorus Eye are specifically Xerneas and Zacian, because Landorus Eye happens to be a really good check into both Xerneas and Zacian, so it helps the mirror situation a lot. Other common partners are things like Serena. We'll talk about Priority and Landorus Eye and how much Landorus Eye actually hates Priority here in a little bit. And Volcarona and Regieleki. Regieleki's a cool one because Landorus Eye checks it, and Regieleki helps slow down the Pokemon that are faster than Landorus Eye. Landorus Eye, if I remember correctly, is a base 101 speed, so you're faster than base 100s, but everything's trying to catch up to Zacian and Calyrex Shadow and Regieleki, so having your own Regieleki here can help bring things back into check for Landorus Eye to keep up with. As for Volcarona, Volcarona gets to do the whole redirection, look at me, and pull attacks away, and is also just a real good ice resist for Landorus Eye. Looking at the metagame breakdown here for Landorus, Earth Power 100% of the time. This is usually due to just sheer force, Life Orb nonsense coming around, just because it's the best ground type attack that it gets. Protect, super duper common because you're not the bulkiest thing in the world. Sludge Bomb is usually your second attack because you want to be able to hit grass type still, that can be a problem. Sludge Bomb also just hits a lot of things neutrally and helps you deal with like Xerneas, things like that. Substitute is something that's kind of starting to see some popularity here lately as a, just like I'm going to take, instead of taking 60% of my damage, 60% of my HP from that damaging attack, I'm only taking 25. And it's just kind of this like the stall tactic to where Landorus can get into a position where it can start to sweep. Other coverage moves here, things like Rock Slide are starting to become popular again because Volcarona is popular and other fire types. Psychic, for some reason, I'm not sure what the reasoning is behind that one. And then Stone Edge, kind of for the same reason that Rock Slide is popular. As for items, Life Orb seems to be the go-to item because everyone's playing Sheer Force right now. Sand Force, when we get to movesets, we'll talk a little bit about Sand Force. tends to run away from the Life Orb and wants to run a more bulky set, kind of like how Landorus Therian did, but we'll get to that in a minute. When building with Landorus Incarnate, your movesets are pretty easy to figure out, as you're looking for moves that synergize with Sheer Force, which technically are few and far between on Landorus. I think you only get Earth Power, Rock Slide, I think Bulldoze technically qualifies because it removes the speed drop. Sludge Bomb, obviously. I think that's about it, but there's enough widespread coverage there to make Landorus powerful. The teams that play Landorus tend to be hyper-offensive in nature, so don't try to play super passive with your Landorus. Yes, there is a substitute set, which we mentioned earlier. That's not really playing passive as so much trying to just get Landorus set up. It's kind of like treating a Xerneas. You want Xerneas to get set up, but you also want to make sure it's safe to set up kind of situation. You want your Landorus to be able to clean up, but you can't clean up if everything's trying to attack your Landorus. And like I mentioned, there are substitute protect builds that look to dodge big hits while your other Pokemon deal damage, and then kind of just play this mind game of, do I click substitute? Do I click protect? What am I going to do this turn? Looking at actual movesets, Landorus Eye only really does one thing: attack. The common sets really reflect this. Earth Power, Sludge Bomb, Max Special Attack, Max Speed, Sheer Force, Life Orb. I'm going to hit you as hard as I can over and over and over, and there's nothing you can do about it. If you're playing Sheer Force, Life Orb is a free roll item. You just get the bonus and no downside, because the way Sheer Force works with it removes the recoil. So things like, always think about playing Life Orb when you're playing Sheer Force. Beyond the Sheer Force set, there are Sand Force sets. You can do these physical Sand Force things. This set in particular on the screen here is a 50% roll to dodge an Oko from Kyogre. It also will outspeed Zacian after a Bulldoze and survive the Behemoth Blade. So you get to live the Behemoth Blade at +1 from +1 Xerneas, Zacian. And then you get, after your Bulldoze, you outspeed so you can pick it up with Earthquake. Landorus still carries that 4x weakness to Ice, so if you're looking to defeat opposing Landoruses and you happen to carry Ice coverage, which is starting to kind of see a pickup again as more Grass types come into the format, you could easily dispatch any Landorus in your path. Priority moves are also an issue. Landorus Eye is really weak to Fake Out. A lot of the times you force them to protect, and then it's easy to kind of just call like, oh, they're going to substitute to double into the other thing. So, Serena, like I mentioned, is a real good pairing with that. But Rillaboom, Rapid Strike Urshifu, and other Fake Out users give you a significant edge because it kind of just helps you against the unpredictability of Landorus Eye. And like I mentioned, Landorus Eye doesn't always have to be Sheer Force. It also doesn't always have to be special. Rock Slide has a flinch chance, so it gets boosted by Sheer Force. Bulldoze, like I mentioned, has that speed drop, so it also gets boosted by Sheer Force. And Rock Slide and Earthquake, just in general, are very powerful moves. Landorus Eye actually has a very high attack stat compared to its special attack stat. 125 versus 115. So physical Landorus Eye is a thing, and you need to be wary of that. Wrapping up here with Landorus Eye, while boasting strong offensive capabilities, Landorus Eye suffers from a lot of what the Therian form did when it comes to just being, it's not immune to just interaction. If your opponent interacts with you, Landorus is going to struggle. Remember to Sheer Force removes Life Orb, recoil if the move triggers it, so use this to maximize your damage output. Make sure you're using Sludge Bomb, Earth Power, Rock Slide, things like that. And priority moves can cause Landorus Eye players a ton of headaches, so constantly swapping out your Fake Out user can help give you an edge over opposing Landorus Eye. And with that being said, I want to thank everyone for hanging out and listening to ramble about Landorus Eye. Remember, check the Discord link below. Giveaway ends soon for those 6 free entries to our LRQ this Saturday. So if you're looking for Best of 3 Series 10 and you just want a free way in, that's your best place to go. Check us out on Twitter. Twitter handles are there on screen. Remember to hit that subscribe button. Comment down below who you want to see me cover next week and all that fun YouTube stuff. And we will see you all next week with some more deep dives. Bye, everyone.